Hi, this is Cheryl McQueen, designer with Bello's Designs. Today we're going to do a fun, quick little project. This is a confetti popper that is a lot of fun to have at your New Year's Eve party or birthday parties or 4th of July celebrations or any kind of event like that where you'd like to have a little bit of fun. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make a popper very quickly. And obviously with this, you can go as detailed or as simple as you'd like. We'll kind of do a simplified version in case you're going to have a lot of people at your event. You'll want to make the poppers up pretty quickly. So let's take a quick look at the supplies that we're going to use today. So the first thing that you'll need is a round tube. Either this one is actually from a toilet paper roll. You can use paper towel roll or whatever you've got. Then you will need a piece of tissue paper. I just took one and took a big sheet and cut it in quarters. So you can kind of measure how you'd like to. Just make sure that you've got enough space on the ends for when we are ready to tie it off with your tissue paper. Then you will need a piece of cardstock. And the way that you can find out the dimensions is to just take your tube and a measuring tape and measure around the edge. I measured this one and it was going to be somewhere around 5.5 inches. I just went ahead and cut my piece of cardstock to be 6 inches so that I'd have a little bit of overlap for when I glue it on. And then obviously you're going to want to know how wide your piece is. So I took my measuring tape again, and this one is about 4 inches. So I have cut my cardstock to be 4 inches by 6 inches. Today I'm going to do just a quick stenciling project for our popper. So I have chosen to use the Lavinia feather leaf. This one is ST014. So we will use this stencil. I'm going to use Villainish Potion, the deep purple color from Ranger. I think the purple and the gold looks really, really pretty. Obviously, then I will use either a brush or a blending little sponge thing. Then to glue our project together, I have chosen to use the Ultra Bond adhesive. You'll probably want to have a rubber band on hand so that when you are, after you put the cardstock on top of your tube, you will have something to hold it in place while the glue is drying. And then for the ends of our poppers, I've just taken a little piece of ribbon and tied that around. And, you know, obviously you can choose whatever you'd like to. Use a piece of twine, use ribbon, use string, anything that you would like to use for tying off the ends of your popper. And here are the couple of ribbons that I've chosen to use. One of the things that you can do is you can choose whether you would like to do the stenciling like we're going to demonstrate today, or I actually made one up where I just took a piece of cardstock that was already pre-printed, took a very simple stamp and stamped out my design, and then I can use this around my tube for my popper as well. Again, you can do as complicated or as simple as you'd like. If you only have a few guests, you might want to do something fancy. But if you're going to have quite a few, you'll want to do something that's a little bit simpler. So let's get started making our popper. So let's start out by going ahead and putting the tissue paper on our tube. This will give the glue a chance to dry. So I'm just going to take my piece of tissue paper and set that down there. Sorry, I don't know why. There it is. My focus was going out there. So I'm just going to lay this down. I'm going to go ahead and zoom this out just a little bit so you can see it just a little bit better there. So I'm going to just take my tube and my glue, and I'm just going to kind of just put a little bit, not solid. You don't need it to be solid. I'm just going to kind of go around the edge of the tube. Just kind of get it started there. And then what I'm going to do is lay it down in the middle of my piece of tissue paper, and then just start gently rolling it up. And I'm not going to worry about putting glue all over the tissue paper, just on the tube so that we get it a good stuck place. And then I'm just going to put a little bit on the edge here to seal it down. Alright, so now I've got that all glued, and what I'm going to do is set it aside and give it a chance to dry. Alright, now and go ahead and get the glue out of the way for right now. And I'm going to go ahead and grab our gold cardstock that I've done. I chose a gold shimmer to give it a little bit of the elegance. You can obviously use your white cardstock and do as many colors or whatever you would like on it. But I'm going to go ahead and use this. I'm going to go ahead and tape it down because I don't like it wiggling when I'm trying to do my stenciling. So I'll tape that down. Take my piece of stencil. I'm also going to go ahead and tape that down over on the top so it doesn't wiggle. Now you can either use a stencil brush or you can use the dauber. I'm going to go ahead and probably just use the dauber today. So I'm going to take my Villainous Potion, and basically all I'm going to do is just stencil over on top of the stencil onto the card. And it's up to you how dark or how light you want it to be. I'm going to put a coat down and then probably go back and darken it up just a little bit. Alright, get a little bit of a second coat. Get that a little darker on our cardstock since it's got a little bit darker background than if I was just doing it on white. Alright, so now we've got our stenciling down. So I will lift up my stencil, and there we go. I always think of New Year's Eve as being a little more elegant, so I thought, well, this would be kind of a cute popper for confetti popper for New Year's Eve. And that's basically all you need to do. That way you can make a large number in a fairly short amount of time. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and fill up our popper. So just take your tissue paper and kind of crunch it together, and take one of your strings or ribbons and tie the end off. Alright, and then I'm probably just going to go ahead and trim my ribbon down just a little bit. And there we go. Now I've got my one end done. So what I would like to suggest is if you're going to use your poppers outside, be sure and use birdseed on the inside instead of paper or rice. Rice is not good for the birds if they get to it, and obviously the paper is not very environmentally smart either. So if you're going to be outside, plan on using your birdseed. If you're going to be inside and have a vacuum cleaner nearby, of course, then go ahead and use paper confetti on the inside. And I actually I have a shredder, so I just took some of my gold cardstock and shredded that up. So now we want to fill up our popper. And you can put in as much or as little of the confetti as you'd like to. Alright, so we've got our confetti down in there. Probably can't see it, it's a little dark in there, but we got that down in there. And then we're going to tie off our other end just like we did on the first end. So I'm just going to pinch it a little bit right here in the middle. And tie my ribbon. And trim my ends. Okay, you can fluff your ends if you'd like to. And now we're ready to go ahead and put our outside cover on our popper. Now, I like to kind of take my cardstock and take a sharp edge and just kind of take roll it kind of along the edge. I can't see it too well, but just to get it started curving. Makes it a little bit easier when you glue it. Then you can just take it, kind of circle it around. That just makes it where it's not quite so straight, and it'll be a little easier to glue onto your tube. Alright, so then take a little bit of glue, and again, it's up to you, but I don't usually put glue all over it. I just put a little bit down on the end here. Put some right close to the end. And then line this up with the edge of my tube. And fold it around. When you get to this edge, take your glue. Oops. Hold that down. Take your glue. Put some right here. And overlap. Now, it's probably going to take a minute for your glue to dry. So that's why I suggest that you take a rubber band and just put it around the center of it to kind of hold it together while it's drying. Alright, and then in a second we'll take that apart and you can see the finished product. And that's basically it. A very simple, fun little party popper with confetti or birdseed on the inside. Again, as I said, think about different ways that you can do it. This is, a fun little simple thing to do, or you can really get elegant and create your own backgrounds and do an elaborate scene on your poppers, on your cardstock for your poppers. It's really up to you as to how you would like to do that. So once our cardstock is dried, hopefully our glue is dried here, but I'd like for you to see it, the finished product. And there it is, a fun, simple little party popper. So I hope you think about doing this for one of your parties coming up or for New Year's Eve. And I'm wishing everyone a Happy New Year and hope that you have a very fun and crafty new year. Thank you so much for watching my video tutorial today, and I hope that you have fun making these poppers. Remember to check out the bellosdesigns.com website for more tutorials on the design team page. Have a great day.